the Spanglish World Network, and Single TV Channel 250. Just want to remind you that this show can be found on Single TV, and you can go to download their application on both on the stores of iOS and Android. Download the application. It's totally free. There is no reason why not to download it and enjoy it. After you have time to enjoy it, please come back to the stores and give us a little bit of uh, give us a comment and a rating. We always like to hear how the application is working, how the shows are. If you are looking for a particular show that we don't have, we will provide it to you. Just write us and let us know. As well, reminding you that Single TV can be found on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. From you can see my screen. I am sharing the screen now with probably the baddest woman that I know in the face of this planet. Her name is Stephanie Fleming, and she is the host of Champions Corner here on the Single TV network and the Spanish World Network as well. Every single Friday and Saturday, bringing you the best of the MMA, boxing, mixed martial arts, anything that is under the sky. Uh, just wanted to tell you that this show is going to be a special show. We are, as you always know, we always do this show in Spanish, but today we are going to do it in English because celebrating International Women's Week on the Spanish Sports World uh, show, and we are going to talk about the baddest women in sport as a whole. And who better to give us that the news of who are the baddest women in sport than Stephanie Fleming. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Eduardo.
So let's start with the MMA, uh, boxing, mixed martial arts, anything that has to do in that arena, because I know that you have a perspective on women's sports that a lot of us lack.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now it's a really exciting time for women. Women have been in the shadows of combative sports for a long time, and now things are starting to change, and women are starting to get the spotlight, and we see a lot of amazing women changing the game for other women and paving a way where there was none. I mean, you have fighters up and coming like Wei Li, we've got Chris Cyborg, we've got Clarissa Shields, Katie Taylor, Valentino Shevchenko, of course, Amanda Nunes and the stunning win she had, now a double champ. There's lots of women headlining the news these days and capturing the spotlight. Well deserved for sure, as I'm sure you would agree, Eduardo.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you did mention one of the people that I kind of follow because she really impersonates what true sport is, and that's Clarissa Shields. Uh, she is probably one of the rough women that I have seen in years in the sport. Uh, I mean, I don't think even Miss Ali would say that would like to face her right now, even at her prime.
No, I mean, I've got to agree with you there. She's on another level. She's skilled. She's savage. I mean, her and Katie Taylor, they're really up there. Now it's figuring out how the two of those fighters can meet, or if that's even possible. I mean, there's a lot of talks of it because obviously those are the two women really gaining momentum in the sport of boxing right now. Not only that, that would be a huge pay-per-view, a huge viewer pull. So I think if that is a fight that's possible for the two of them to sign a contract and meet at weight, I think it would do a lot for women's boxing for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about, because I I heard Clarissa made an open challenge to any man that would like to face her. And that amazed me because that's rough, like at any level. Uh, what do you think would happen with an open in an open challenge like that?
Well, first of all, it doesn't surprise me that Clarissa Shields will not back down to anyone, man or woman. Realistically, I mean, it's not something that we're going to see in this decade, an open division. I know there's been a lot of talks about it lately. It's been a hot topic, especially with Nunes being the champ and not really having anyone who can compete with her on the MMA stage in UFC. So there has been a lot of talks about men and women fighting, but realistically, I don't foresee that something that's going to happen in, like I said, the next 10 years. There definitely are women out there who could kick the shit out of men. Excuse my language, everyone. But yeah, there's definitely some females out there like Carissa Shields, like Katie Taylor, like Amanda Nunes, who actually stand a chance, not just against regular men, but against trained athletes as well. And if you don't believe me, ask some of their training partners that are male, and I'm sure they'll put you right in your place.
So let's talk about another woman that is making waves, and that's Danielle Perkins. Danielle Perkins has been a little bit emotional as of late. She said that she's going to take the Olympics by surprise in the next this coming summer, and that no one can stop her. Uh, where where Perkins going from here?
Hmm. I mean, anyone stands a chance, and it's all about mindset, isn't it? Really, nobody believes the underdog or anyone in a ranked division is going to come up and take stage and make waves until they do. So it's like anything. It's all talk until you get in there and put the work in and grind it out and prove yourself. But I don't doubt anyone. Anyone at an Olympic level is highly skilled. They've been training their whole lives. And just to get there is a feat in itself. So everybody's got a chance once you're there, you know.
So you spoke about Amanda Nunes, UFC champion, double champion, boxing and UFC. But one of the things about Amanda Nunes is not just her perseverance in the ring, it's all the stuff that she does outside the ring that impresses people. Uh, is there a next step for Amanda Nunes? Because she has reached the plateau. I mean, I am not going to say that she's the same at the same level that she's below Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey had to leave the UFC because there was nothing else to do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, unfortunately, she is at a point in her career when she's run through every viable fight that could give her a chance, really. But it happens to women all the time. It happens to women in amateur sports. You run through everyone in your country or eventually everyone in your division in the world. And where do you go from there? Amanda Nunes is a champion, so she's just going to continue to compete with herself until someone comes along. And it's like anything, there's definitely undiscovered and unhidden talent. And Dana White and the UFC owe it to Amanda Nunes to go out and find some women, you know, who maybe can't compete with her right now, but they have the potential in the future with the right training and the right resources to eventually compete with her. I mean, there are women like Kayla Harrison. I know there's a weight difference there. Chris Cyborg, again, like Nunes has already beaten Cyborg, but just continue with women's development in this sport. I think you're going to have to continue to fight the next best to yourself in order to stay where you are. So regardless if she's already beaten some of the top talent, I'm sure she's going to, like I said, continue to compete with herself and continue to remain the champ. And what a powerful thing that happened in the ring, hey, when Amanda Nunes brought her daughter into the ring. I thought that was such a beautiful portrait of like women, especially women nowadays. Like, you can have it all. Like, she's an amazing mother. She's a world-class athlete. She's, you know, getting a lot of endorsement deals, and she's really like I said, breaking up open new paths for women. And it's getting easier and easier to get the kind of spotlight that female athletes deserve.
So let me welcome to our little room here at Spanglish Sports World my co-host in the Spanish end of things is Joaquin Soto. Joaquin, welcome to the show. As you know, today we are honoring women, International Women's Week this week, and we are talking about the baddest women in the game today. So, welcome.
Hello, Stephanie. Nice to meet you, Eduardo. People who's watching the program. As usual, a pleasure to be here.
So, yesterday I had the pleasure of being on one of our other shows, the Sports Den with Scott Churchson, and we went through baddest women in sport all together. We pulled up a list of people along the way. I want to do some of the same thing with you guys. So we did 5 yesterday, and my number fifth pick, just to let you know, Stephanie, because I am not going to compete with anybody, was you, because I said pick me up any day, anytime.
I see.
Smart man, Eduardo. Smart man.
I see, Eduardo. I see the strategy now.
I am not going to go into any dark alley where Stephanie's walking. Let me tell you that much. So I want to go through a list that I have compiled. Joaquin, I think I told you just before the show that to prepare a list as well.
Yeah, just put me running, but yes.
Like always. But let's start. I want to start at the top of the game, and we are going to back. I am going to go back in time because this is the woman that put women in sport. Although it's not martial arts or it's not boxing, but I am talking about a legend, an icon, Billie Jean King, in the sport of tennis. I mean, what can you say about Billie Jean, about her perseverance? What can you say about her style of play, winning Grand Slam after Grand Slam? 76 years old, and she's still playing the game at an Olympic level. So you know, that's probably the first name that, when it comes to women in sport, that comes to my mind. What do you think?
Ladies first, Stephanie.
Well, actually, Eduardo, I'm embarrassed to say that I've never heard of this woman, but I think because I don't necessarily follow tennis that much. However, I'm super impressed that she's 76 years old and still at the Olympic level. Obviously, that's an amazing feat, and that's not something that you can do in every sport, but she definitely would have been there from the very beginning. How much of a struggle, and I'm sure from when she first began her career to now being in tennis, the game has changed so much, and I'm sure she's seen so much progression. It must be really amazing for her to see like how women are getting a lot more attention in sports media in recent years.
I will give Stephanie a hand here because Eduardo, we are a little bit younger than you. So I know about this lady, I know, but this was a tough one to know. I follow tennis, but not that much. But I know she won like 29 Grand Slam, which is
39.
Crazy.
Oh.
She won 39 grand. 39. 39 Grand Slams. She was
29.
the
Yeah,
first
39,
woman.
sorry.
She was the first woman to have a match against a man and actually beat the man.
Woo! See now she's on my books. She beat a man.
Yeah, no,
She's my girl.
she. But it's funny because in my top 5 list was Serena Williams, because I'm putting woman from 15 years to now. Eduardo, you put this lady that is a little older than us, but yeah, she's a reference. I mean, an icon for not just tennis, but sport in general, right? As Stephanie said, we are maybe another generation, but she she won everything. I mean, 16 titles in doubles, 39 Grand Slam, which I don't think even Serena Williams have done that before or something, right? So okay,
No, I
point.
did have Serena Williams
We
number
got
two.
your point, Eduardo. Yeah.
I had Serena Williams number two.
Ah.
Yeah.
Two. I have Serena Williams in my list, but yeah, this Lady
So
Billie Jean King was amazing. Yeah.
so my second pick, and you probably don't know this woman, but
Imagine if we didn't know the other one. So with now this one, we probably don't know. Okay.
so this woman, her name is Junko Tabei. Junko Tabei,
Junko Tabe.
world renowned because she was the first woman to climb Mount Everest and reach its peak. I
Yes.
mean that's what I
Yeah,
call
he was he's Japanese, right?
she's Japanese, yes.
Yes, I have here. But Eduardo, you are putting you are choosing people from the 70s, 80s. I mean, yes, I
Well,
think I remember.
but you have to remember, we are talking about badass women.
Yeah, but
There
we
is a
can
lot
go.
about there is not men that haven't reached the top of Mount Everest, and for her to do it before a lot of men, that's what I call badass.
No,
No, yeah.
I hear you. She was the first one to do it. It's always the most difficult to be the first to overcome the challenge. And I'm sure there was people who doubted that she could even do it at all. Let's be real. We're talking in a time where a lot of women around the world didn't even drive. You know,
It's,
like
it's true. No, and I think that the most important thing here, Stephanie and Eduardo, I remember her not that much because Eduardo is putting tough ladies. I don't want to know the third one, but I do remember that she, for the moment, I mean, was amazing that she reached the Everest, right? But I think that the most important in that time was that number one was a woman, and she broke all the stereotypes about there was only men that who could, could do this and that. So for the time, I think that it was most important that, that as a woman that she did it than the claim the Everest itself. Could be any other thing, but she broke like the barrier of the prejudice between men and women.
I can kind of, sorry to cut you off. I can kind of understand why Eduardo picked women from like long ago, not just because of his age, Eduardo, I'll be honest with you, but also because like you think about it, in her time, like we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Facebook. So she didn't have necessarily sponsorship for this. You imagine the amount of training that she needed. Like we're talking going to the top of Everest, where you have to have high oxygen capacity. You have to have your lungs have to be trained, your muscles have to be changed. You have to train for hypothermia. Like you can't just climb Mount Everest. This takes months and months and months and months and months of training. I know it's become like a popularized thing that people are like hiring people basically to get them up the mountain, and it's easier now than it was then. But just think about like how she had to make the finances just to get herself there, how she had to do the training when probably it was very difficult to get trainers. Like, she overcame a lot more than if a woman can't climb Mount Everest right now today for the first time ever. Like, she had to overcome more than women now have to overcome, because we have more opportunities now. We have things like the internet, we have sponsorship,
technology.
Yeah, it's a different time. In that time, 100%, the obstacle was bigger. But that's one great thing of why all these women like coming forth and like doing these amazing things is so important, because every single time, like, the hurdle is a little bit lower and a little bit lower and a little bit lower. So I understand your justification, Eduardo.
Yeah, I don't want to hear the third one. Let me see it, because
What was yours? What was your second one? Okay.
mine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have it in order. I have five. I have Ronda Rousey. I have Serena Williams. Ronda Rousey, you know that Ronda Rousey, as we are, she is half Venezuelan, right?
Yeah.
So I have Ronda Rousey, I have Serena Williams, I have Danica Patrick, I have Christine Sinclair, and I have one that you might don't know, which is 100% Venezuelan, is Julie Mar Rojas, and she has broke all the records you can imagine in indoor jumps, triple jumps. She just got the order in Spain as the best athlete. I think was in Europe or something. Just last week. Yeah. So those are my five. A little more of that era, Eduardo.
So my third one uh, was someone that I had the of meeting in person, the pleasure of that I walked into South Korea with her in the same stadium, and that's Florence Griffith Joyner,
Yes.
the track athlete from the U.S. She passed away in 98 at the age of 38 years old. But before she departed us, she set records in the 100-meter dash, in the 200-meter dash, in high jump, in triple jump, and some of her records still stand. Her record in the 200-meter dash still stands till this day.
Yes.
Uh, some people dare to say that she was faster than some of the men in multiple parts of the world. So, to me, she embodied something that was out there completely.
Yeah, I do remember her. I was young, but I do remember her. And I do remember, if tell me if I'm wrong, I think she broke the 100-meter and 200-meter record the same year.
She won in the Olympics.
Exactly, in the Olympic, in the same in 88 was or
88, South
80,
Korea.
correct. Yes.
In the Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, she was an icon from the athletics in the US,
So,
in general, in the world.
so my next athlete comes from the world of sumo. Uh, uh, it is Trisha Thorne. Uh, uh, One of the things that captivated me about Trisha Thorne is not just that she won 41 gold medals in her career in the Olympics, but
Mhm.
uh, it was that she was blind. Uh, she swam for the American team. She was the first Paralympic athlete to compete in the normal Olympics.
Really? Ever? The first one ever, man or
Ever,
woman?
man or woman, yes.
Wow.
And
Yes.
it just made everyone think twice about how to to measure her. And when she was supposed to go to Russia for the 80 games, the Olympics were canceled, and she had to do extra training, extra motivation to come back in LA in '84 to really go at it and try to embody herself. And she got not one of the things that makes her a real badass, in my opinion, is that even with all her uh, and I won't say that they were handicaps, because they weren't handicaps to her. They were just more motivation to do things better. In '84, when she went to the Olympics in LA, she was supposed to go to the Paralympics, and then they allowed her to compete in LA in the normal Olympics. And I was there as part of the media at that time, and I remember that vividly. And I said, that's not fair that they are allowing a blind woman to compete against regular women. And when I saw that she was beating them by 2 arm lengths, and I was like, wow.
You were
Anyone
like,
that
I
told me,
retract that.
yeah, like, oh my God, it was bad. So uh, that's why I chose her as one of my badass women.
She won 55 medals. 55 medals. Not
So,
even Michael Phelps have won so many medals in Olympics. So yeah,
That is definitely
um,
badass.
uh,
she is. But Eduardo, okay, you are making me sweating.
so the next woman in my list, uh, I have a huge list, so we will go. We have lots of time to go through that. Is Alex Morgan, uh,
Okay.
Olympic soccer team. Uh, she's probably one of the women in the face of the earth that I can say that she can compete side by side with men, and you would be able to tell the difference because she's just phenomenal. She has so much skill. Uh, and I heard a comment made recently by the biggest soccer star in the world, Pele, saying that Alex Morgan, if she will have been in his decade, probably will be every single man that played in that era. And from the world's greatest soccer player, uh, say something like that, it's a hell of a compliment.
Well, yes, I'm agree with you, but I would say that in the same level, you also have Megan Rapinoe. You have the same Christine Sinclair for me, right? You have Mia Hamm, uh,
It's
Amy
also on my list.
Wambach, Amy Wambach. I mean, that they were as good as Alex Morgan was as a player, I think, in my own opinion. So yes, she was amazing player, soccer player. But there is the other one I just mentioned. For me, are in the same level that she was.
So one of the women that always gets lost because she's now a coach in gymnastics happens to be a Romanian lady by the name of Nadia Comaneci.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I consider, and everyone will say that Simone from the US right now probably is at a bigger level than Nadia ever was. But the single point that as one of the best in the world and one of the most fierce in the world was because when she came to Montreal in 76, when nobody had done it, no men, no women had done this, and she got a perfect 10, not one time, but 5 different exercises at the Olympics. And that's an accomplishment on its own. That no one had done it, and she became the first athlete in gymnastics to ever do it.
Yeah. And she was a kid. She was only 14 years old. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So
great,
she's
great athlete.
uh, so I'll just give you some names that I have on my list. Well, Jackie Joyner Kersey. I don't know if you're familiar with Jackie Joyner. She's a high jump track and field star from the U.S. Uh, I also have Misty Copeland, who is a gymnast from Canada. Mia Hamm, you mentioned Mia Hamm. Yes, definitely. Mia Hamm is the unreal. Uh, Someone that you don't know probably because that was a long time ago. And I go back in the Olympics, the Olympic movement, and in women actually, uh, going back to the olden days, uh, is Gertrude Earl. Gertrude Earl was the first woman to compete in weightlifting in 1921 in an Olympics.
Quite some time ago, Eduardo.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks God you didn't mention in your top 5, but 1921. Okay, no, I didn't know about it.
So she was not just a weightlifter, but she was the first woman to swim across the English Channel as well.
Cool.
So that takes a lot of guts. She swam across the English Channel in the middle of winter.
Oh, okay.
from the UK to France.
Wow. That's amazing. She's a rebel in her time for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
The next woman I have on my list can be considered probably the greatest tennis player in the history of the game, by far, whether or women. I just that's Martina Navratilova.
I remember her.
Martina clobbered. She clobbered anyone who came in her path. Just to give you some of her, just to give you some of her background, she won 167, competed in 167 singles tournaments, 177 doubles tournaments. She competed in 2,189 matches.
Wow.
Yeah.
And one of the things that made her recognizable, it was because as Billie Jean King was and Martina, they became the face of the LGBTQ community of the era. Openly came out and said that they were not the same as everybody else, and it made them that much more special. Next on my list is Simone Biles. Why Simone Biles? Well, if you have two designations of the competition named after you, you have to be badass.
She's an alien, I swear. Like, she can't be human.
Yeah. I think she got what, more than 30 medals for sure.
Oh, she at 23 years old, she has 52 medals, of which 48 are gold.
Wow.
As I said, she has two exercises within the Olympic movement that are named after her on the dismounts.
For sure.
Uh, that's one of the other people on my list.
Didn't she like nail a move that they named after her that not even a male gymnast managed to land in competition?
Yeah, correct.
That's insane when you think about it.
That was the dismount on the rings. So she did.
No, I've watched some of her routines and like the athleticism, and she is built like she has muscles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
She's
commendable.
like next level. That's what I mean. She's for sure like she got bitten by a radioactive spider or something. Like she's like superhuman.
She is. She is.
The next one on my list, you might know her, but I don't know. Well, actually, you can know her, Stephanie. Her name is Lindsey Vonn, uh, the American downhill champion. Recorded. She retired at age 34, but before that, she retired. Not just that she broke every medal competition that she could win, but in the way of to doing it, she still has now the fastest speed down a downhill slope ever by men or women.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember she got a very nasty injury on the knee, I remember. And after that she was not the same. By the way, she's the girlfriend of PK Subban, but
Yeah.
she was really, really good at her time. Really, really good.
Uh, the next woman on my list happens to be a Canadian hockey player, Hillary Knight. Uh, in the 2000 Pyeongchang Games in China, she did what nobody could have done in a net, and that was that she went undefeated. Uh, she didn't allow one goal uh, in 17 matches during the Olympics. So that's the next name on my list. She's currently playing in the CWHL, and hopefully, and this is something that I just heard, is that she'll be playing for the Toronto Six, hopefully next season. So it's a pleasure to see.
She's like a god here in Canada.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you can imagine, we love our hockey here. So she's like got the key to every single province in Canada, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
She definitely wouldn't be thrown out of a house party.
Yeah, 100% for sure.
She's popular here. Yep.
So now we come more towards this era, and here comes another mountain climber named Hill. So Lynn Hill claim to fame is that she climbed Yosemite Park.
Okay.
And it was a free climb with no harness, no ropes, no anything. Not just that, but she did it at the age of 14. It's That's something that I've never heard in my life. Someone climbed at the age of 14, badass little girl, uh, broke every single expectation that there could be at Yosemite.
Yes. Well, it's funny, Eduardo, because you mentioned she's more than this year. She's from the 60s, but yeah, she competed between the most successful time was between the 80s and 90s. But uh, yes, she was really, really good athlete. But again, you are making me sweat here because some of them I just hear about it. So that list is long, huh?
Oh, it's a list of 40.
There are a lot of kick-ass women in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to condense all these amazing women into one list. Let's be real.
You see, Eduardo have all of them in one list.
So,
That's good. See, he's smart. He knows he's not going to make anyone upset if he puts everybody in there.
Yeah, I see. That's the old trick, Eduardo, huh? Put
I know where to keep
everyone.
my women. The next woman on my list comes from the world of golf, and it's a current woman, Annika Sorenstam. Annika Sorenstam could be, I could put her in the category of a mix between Tiger Woods uh, and many of the other men. She has won 72 titles in professional golf.
Hmm.
Well,
There is no one that has done it since 1945. That was the last time, and that was Babe Zacharias Dickerson that did win 23. So she beat her by out of nowhere. And Sorensen currently uh, just retired officially,
Hmm.
and she will become the first woman to design golf courses around the world. Uh, Hired by the PGA to design multiple courses, and it's going to be a great thing.
She's from Sweden, but she's also American. But I don't remember if she was representing US or Sweden when she played. Uh, but yes, she won 72 titles, which is ridiculous.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, very, very good.
And so, I am going to end my list with a little, as I call her, little sprout of energy. Uh, uh, Competed in gymnastics for in the Olympics for the U.S. And that woman happens to be Mary Lou Retton. Uh, Mary Lou Retton uh, was phenomenal. I mean, uh, her claim to fame was the famous dismount of the horse. Um, she did a handspring off the horse with a broken leg and landed for a perfect 10 on one foot. So uh, that's
I
the
remember that.
That's pretty
so
cool. Can you
yeah.
guys even stand on one foot for like a minute?
No, not really.
Oh, think
Well,
about how hard landing on one foot would be.
Uh, I
yeah, 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 yeah.
it,
I'm
it
just
was funny
saying.
about my it was funny because I interviewed her way after she won the gold. Uh, I asked her, how did you feel in that moment that what you had accomplished? And she goes, I don't know what was more thrilling, the idea that I landed or the idea that I won.
Mm.
Um, and I said, I just asked, continue the conversation and said, well, you brought everybody in the world to a standstill. And
Mhm.
no one can say anything else. And it was exciting. So uh, definitely this has been an emotional show because we are reliving through Stephanie uh, some of our best uh, stuff. And just want to reiterate, that I think Stephanie's frozen, but if she comes back on time, we'll thank her for it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so Joaquin, do you have moments from women in sports that you remember clearly that you have seen?
Well, yes. I do remember, for example, I remember I watched the game when Christine Sinclair, for example, she scored twice that game against, I remember, St. Kitts and Nevis, and she's now the top scorer in the history of the women's soccer. Or I do remember, even that it was not on my list, but I do remember. Do you remember Milka Duno? I remember
Yeah.
when she made the first race, and for all here in Venezuela was like, wow, our first racer. Um, many Serena Williams. I saw her playing here in the Rogers Cup. I mean, many memories of those ladies that I think that they made history because every time they achieve a tournament or whatever they did, they were breaking the stereotypes, right, between men and women, and trying, even if they didn't know it, they were doing a social, like, job, trying to put women and men in the same spot in the sport world, right? So at the beginning was shocking. For example, I remember when Danica Patrick went to NASCAR, everybody was like, what's going on? Because NASCAR was 100%
So
men's sport,
it's
right?
funny that a lot of our women, especially the Spanish side, in the Hispanic side, uh, competed in sports that were not traditional, that were
Oh
not.
yes.
Uh, but my greatest memories of Hispanic women in general were of Arancha Sanchez Vicario,
Tennis, yes, of course.
of Gabriela Sabatini, Conchita Alonso,
Hmm.
the
Totally.
women that the women that actually brought their integrity to the games, uh, and they made Mary Jo Fernandez, another one from the U.S.
Mary Jo Fernandez, Monica Seles.
Teles. Those were the names that we need.
Remember when she was stopped?
I mean, if you think of the Hispanic players, you can go down to pinpoint the ones that made an era that weren't beatable. Uh, Arancha Sanchez was a champion was competing against Martina Navratilova, was competing against
Yes,
Heather
that
Loyd.
era was amazing. The same,
And
Gabi Sabatini.
yeah,
They make
it was,
history.
yeah. So, well, let's leave. We have 5 minutes. Let's leave the world of women's sports. Let's go to the reality of new sport, of the sports that are playing. We are going to go through the list of the games today in the MLB because there is a lot of games in MLB. But I want to highlight the game between Toronto and the Orioles. The Orioles beat the Blue Jays 4-3. As we said yesterday, pitching is the key, and that's what lacked in today's game. Uh, the other game to highlight is the Braves losing against the Red Sox. Uh, I am not sure what's happening with the Braves. They have a great team, great organization, and they just don't seem to be able to put it together. I'm going to go quickly right now, and we're going to go to the champions to see what happened in the champions.
Oh, champion just finished the 2 games. No surprise.
So in aggregate, PSG advances. Barcelona. PSG advances over Barcelona the next round, and Liverpool beats Leipzig, and Liverpool now advances to the next round.
Yeah, well, that might be the little surprise between breaks because Liverpool was in 30, a better team than Leipzig, but Liverpool was playing really bad and Leipzig really good. So we could think that maybe Leipzig have some chances, but no, 2-0. Liverpool played really well and they advance.
So next week, we have 2 great matches: Man City against Molenbeek and Real Madrid against Atalanta.
Yeah,
4:00 on Tuesday, both games. Stay tuned to them because they are going to be our matches. And with this, we have Stephanie back to close and give us her last words on badass women of sport. Steph, who do
Yeah, I guess I just like to say, like, obviously there's a lot of badass women in sports.
Not like you though.
I'm pretty kick-ass myself, yeah, definitely. But some of these women are just like next level. Like what they've accomplished in their careers is absolutely amazing, and it was nice to kick it back and even talk about some women I hadn't heard about, but that obviously amazed me as a woman. I think what they have accomplished is something else. One name I'd say that I wish I had the chance to talk about before my computer died is Sarah Fuller. I think what she's done this year, again, it's another hurdle, and it's something that shifted the way people have been thinking about women. And I think to see her do her thing in football is it's pretty cool.
Awesome. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to a conclusion of another show of Spanglish Sports World. We will be back with you on this coming Saturday at 11 a.m. For the English version of the show. I want to remind you that this show can be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network, social media partners. As well, remember that you can go to our website, SpanglishSportsWorld.com, for all the news. There you can find stories by our hosts, by our columnists, and it never ends. All the news are there for you. So remember, Spanglish Sports World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, or especially leave it, because Spanglish Sports World is sport, and sport is Spanglish Sport World. In the name of our great host, Stephanie Fleming, my co-host, Joaquin Soto, this has been Eduardo Harari, and we will see you on Saturday at 11 a.m. for the English version of this show. And just want to remind you to please stay safe during these COVID times of the pandemic.
Thanks so much, Eduardo.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye, Stephanie.